Hello, it is the Welsh Dad here, and this is the first of a number of videos I'm going to be recording which concentrate on the cold and dark setup of a number of aircraft that I fly regularly. So we've got the 737 MAX 8, iFly 737 MAX 8 on this video, but we will do other videos for the Phoenix A320 series, and when I finally figure out how to fly it, the A300, IndyBuild's A300. But let's crack on and let's get into this video. Okay, we are inside the flight deck now, the cockpit. It is cold and dark. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to go across to the EFB and we're going to power up that by the button in the top right. We'll move down to the system page, to the sim menu, and first things first, if you haven't already done it, in the ACARS, you're going to put in your sim brief ID here, the numerical ID, your sim brief, just in this little window here. Okay. Once that's set, you can go back into the ground support. If these aren't already ticked, then tick for the chocks for the nose, left and right gear, and then we're going to connect the electric. Press set. With that done, we can go to the overhead. We now have the ground power available, illuminated. We can go up just above that to the left, it's battery, and we're going to flick that to on. That will cover, and then we are going to turn on the ground power unit. Okay, next thing we're going to do then is go up to the upper overhead, and we're going to put the IRS both to nav. So give it a second and it will say on DC, and then we can go down to the FMS and we can start the initial programming for this. Then we go into FMC, into pause init, and we give it a reference so it knows roughly where we are. So we are in Bristol right now. And then we are going to go to the second page, the left GPS, or the right, I tend to use left, copy that to the scratch pad, and then put that into set IRS position. Done. Then we're going to go to root, and as long as you've got your sim brief in, this will work just dandy. So we've still got the Bristol code in the scratch pad, so we're going to add it to the origin. We're going to go to flight plan request. Press that, give it a second, and then we're going to press again to load the flight plan. And that will fill in the company route, the destination. So once that is done, you can fill in the flight number. I'm just going to put a random Ryanair number, Ryanair 1132, into the flight plan. And looking at sim brief, we'll just fetch the flight plan. We are taking off from runway 27, so we'll put 27 in there as well. We'll minimize that for a second. We'll be coming right back to that. We're going to activate the route and then execute. Then once that's done, we're back over to the EFB, into the menu, system page, sorry, performance and payload, and we are going to weight and balance, bringing back up the sim brief flight plan and payload. We have 161 passengers on board. All this information can be found, if you haven't got this sim brief panel, all the information can be found on your sim brief flight plan via the website. There's 161 passengers, and that will then allocate them across the different zones. We're then going to go to cargo, and we are carrying 3213, so that's just over 1600 in the forward and aft. And we'll set the payload. Then we go to fuel, and the block fuel is 4590. and then we go to the OFP, and if you just scroll down just a little bit, it will give you your trip fuel, which is 1638, and also your taxi fuel, which is 191. And then we can go ahead and set fuel. So we've got a zero fuel weight of 62450. Not far off. 62520. Happy with that. Okay, so that is now set. Payload is set, and we can complete that part. Okay, back to the FMS now. We can now go to performance init. Click on the soft key, and it'll give you the fuel, and the zero fuel weight is in there already. Going back to the flight plan, our alternate fuel is 1.3. We can put that in there under the reserve. And then for the cruise wind, let's bring the flight plan back up. Move it across here. Top of climb wind 310 by 33. The ISO dev is 1. And that is that done. We can close that down. We can execute that. And then N1 limit, we're going to be using just standard takeoff today. That is done. So we can leave it on the takeoff page for a second. Now back over to the EFB for takeoff performance. We're going to copy the FMC data. It gives us the runway. It is dry at the moment. We've got the winds, we've got the outside temperature, and we've got the... There we go, just reset the barrow. And then we've got the takeoff powers. We just noticed on the FMC, flaps are going to be 5. We are going to have packs on, and anti-ice is going to be off. We calculate that. That gives us 136, 137 and 149 for the V2. Back to the FMS. Got 136. So first things first, flaps 5. And 136, 137. And what did I say what the last one was? 149? 149. Okay. 149. And center of gravity, which gives us our takeoff trim. Okay, that is done. We can then move on to the departure. We know we are departing from runway 27, so click that and it'll give you the available SIDs from that particular runway. Again, back to our flight plan for sim brief, and it tells us we are on the Brecon 1 X-ray departure. We'll just select that and execute. Then just go to the legs, just to double check there are no discontinuities between the SID and the rest of the flight route. There is not. Monty, that's where you pick up the star into your destination. Okay. But that now is done. So the FMC is done, and that is ready to rock and roll. Now we can move on back to the overhead. And we are going to start the APU. We're going to arm the exterior lights, cover that. We are going to turn the seatbelt signs to on. Either auto or on. I tend to use on. Nav lights should already be on, I always forget that. Nav lights to steady, and then we'll put the fuel pump aft, the one on the far left, on, and we are going to click the APU to on, give it a second, and then go to start. And while that starts up, we're going to go outside and listen to the amazing sounds of the APU starting up, spinning around. And once that's started up, we will get the APU available light just by here. So we'll go ahead and transfer power to the APU, and we'll turn on the APU bleed. The APU bleed is on. We can go ahead, turn on the hydraulics. We'll leave the rest of the stuff until after we start the engines. So now the APU is on, we can go back to the EFB and we can disconnect the ground power system page. Disconnect. We can get rid of the chocks as well while we're here, and set. So once that is done, we are pretty much ready for pushback and engine start. So make first things first, make sure your beacon light is on. If you use GSX or whichever tool you use for pushback, we're going to prepare for pushback and departure. Obviously calling for clearance if you're on VATSIM or any other ATC client. We're just going to wait for them to turn up. Here they come. There's a little wave.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Here she is. So I do have external controls, but for the purpose of this tutorial, I will be using the mouse and clicking things inside the flight deck. You can set up your externals to work with the buttons, but say for this tutorial, I will just use mouse clicks.
Departure checks completed. Bypass pin inserted.
Okay, while they're doing that, we're just going to quickly set up the MCP. I'm going to use my Stream Deck for this because only because the click spots will take me forever. So we're going to set the heading to runway heading of 270. We're going to set the speed for V2 plus 20 or so. And then the initial altitude we're going to set for 6,000, which is on the SID. We turn on the flight director on both sides. There'll be nose right.
Release parking brake.
Both sides. And that's where we are for now. We're going to turn off the parking brake.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
Okay, we're going to start the fuel pumps on, and then ignition 1 or 2, whichever one you do, left or right, whichever one you want. We're going to start the engine number 1 for this purpose, and we're going to go outside again and listen to the fantastic sounds. So that's starting to go now. We're going to go down to here and you'll see motoring just in text by here. And once that disappears, we can put on the fuel switch. There we go. So cut off to idle, and then we can go and listen to the sounds. Once the engine is started, it will click back to off, and then we can go ahead and start engine number 2 in process. Ignition over, and then the switch to ground. We'll watch the N2 again start to rise. You'll see motoring, and once the motoring disappears, we put on the second fuel cutoff.
Please set parking brakes.
Parking brake is set.
Waiting your confirmation for a good engine start.
We're watching for our motoring to disappear. It has, so we can put on the second fuel cutoff. Rude. We're just waiting for that to click back across to off. As it does, so now we can tell the ground crew we have 2 good engine starts.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Unlocking gear.
Okay, we're then going to transfer the power to the engines. We're going to turn off the APU bleed, put the packs to auto, let that air flow through, turn the APU off. Then we're going to start from the top, window heats to on, probe on, yaw damper on the left to on. That is complete. To the MCP now, VNav, LNav to on. Then down to the flight controls check.
Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin
Way to the
removed.
left. Way to the right.
Left is clear. Right is clear.
Up. Down. Right to the left. Right to the right. Neutral. We'll set our flaps to 5. We'll put the brakes to RTO. We'll turn our TCAS to the on position. We've been given the all clear by the ground crew. I'm going to turn on the taxi lights and any of the other lights you may wish if it's a night or not. And then that is the end of the cold and dark, and you are ready to taxi. If you like this video, please do drop a comment. Let me know how you found it, and I look forward to bringing you another video soon. Have a great flight.